culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Jaden Frank, and we're coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Isabel Ramos-Assam. It's Wednesday, October 8th. On today's show, an Academy Award-winning USC alum, Newsom says no to ultra-processed foods, and we speak to a former conversion therapist. All that and more from where we are. But first, today's headlines.
Last Sunday, recently appointed French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu announced his cabinet for France. 14 hours later, he resigned. Disputes among members of the cabinet led to political pressure, causing Lecornu to call it quits. He is now the fifth prime minister that President Macron has appointed in 2 years that has resigned. LeBron James teased his fans with a huge announcement on Tuesday. Would it be retirement? A team switch? A career switch? No. King James broke the internet to unveil a new ad. Turns out the only thing he's changing is the kind of Hennessy he's drinking. His new VSOP special edition bottle will run you about $65. Former FBI Director James Comey pleaded not guilty today on charges that he lied to Congress. He's asking the courts to toss out the charges, claiming they're more about payback than actual proof. This revenge is allegedly puppeteered by President Trump, who's long blamed him for the fallout of the Russia investigation. More on this later. UCLA's football team ended their 4-game losing streak as they defeated Penn State this past weekend, making this one of the most shocking wins in UCLA's history. With a final score of 37-42, this is the first time the Bruins have surpassed 40 points in a game since 2023. A man was arrested yesterday in connection with intentionally starting the Pacific Palisades fire that killed and destroyed thousands of homes earlier this year. The suspect, 29-year-old Jonathan Brinderknecht, is facing up to 20 years in prison for a felony count of destruction of property by means of fire. His first hearing is set for tomorrow.
President Trump has been using the Justice Department to go after his political enemies. The judicial branch, along with Congress, is expected to keep the executive branch in check. But is the balance of power shifting? Amy Contreras has the story.
In late September, the Justice Department indicted former FBI Director James Comey. It's a move that has been widely seen by critics of the Trump administration as retaliatory. Comey was in charge of the FBI when the Bureau investigated whether President Trump's 2016 presidential election had possible ties to Russia. This morning, Comey pleaded not guilty to charges brought against him by the Trump administration of providing false statements and obstructing a congressional proceeding in 2020. Last month, President Trump himself asked that Comey and other political foes be prosecuted.
In a September social media post addressed to Attorney General Pam Bondi, the president openly called for the Justice Department to go after Comey and other political enemies.
The New York Times reported today on how President Trump planned to weaponize the Justice Department when he began campaigning for his second term in office. The piece listed other political enemies being targeted, as Trump seeks revenge for multiple cases filed against him during the Biden administration. To better understand what's happening, Annenberg Media spoke recently with Cami Akavan, director at USC Center for Political Future.
We're so divided that our opponents are now the enemies, and when someone's the enemy, you do whatever you can to stop them.
This is not an altogether new phenomenon, Akavan says, but the current political divide is making it worse.
It's a trend that's been going on for a few decades now, preceded Trump, but he is not helping bring the country together in that way. He is also one of the principal dividers in chief. That is a form of division that's called affective polarization.
And even if those accused by the Trump administration prevail in court, there is damage done.
But even if there's no criminal charges, it's just doing damage, because now they have to spend money out of their own pockets for their own legal defense, or it's tarnishing their reputations so badly that it'll be very difficult for them.
But is using the Justice Department to seek vengeance on political foes even legal? Diego Andrades, the assistant director at Center for the Political Future, says that question is up for discussion because the ground is shifting in the Trump era.
And I wouldn't say that he was planning to weaponize the Department of Justice, but because he's been given so many freedoms with expanding the role of the presidency, and there's not a lot of checks on his power, that power has only continued to grow. So he's been given a lot of freedom to explore what potentially shifting the president's interaction with the Justice Department has done, to the extent where he's legally, until he's not legally allowed to, prosecute people who he thinks have committed crimes against him or the country.
And there have been major shifts in the Justice Department itself. 3 of the 9 Supreme Court justices are Trump appointees. Attorney General Pam Bondi represented Trump when he faced impeachment in 2019. And as a Time story noted, dozens of career prosecutors have been fired, many of whom worked on cases involving Trump during the previous administration. For Annenberg Media, I'm Amy Contreras.
USC alum Shindy Zhang took home a Student Academy Award this week for her short film. The movie is a song to travelers away from home. Lori Lee has the story.
And the winner of the Gold Student Academy Award for Alternative Experimental is Shindy Zhang.
Recent USC School of Cinematic Arts alumna Xindi Zhang took home gold at the Student Academy Award on Monday. Her animation documentary, The Song of Drifters, was her master's thesis project in the expanded animation program. The film is a story by and for drifters, people who move from place to place seeking where they belong in the world. Zhang integrates 3D animation, illustration, and artificial intelligence morphing. Working with mixed media narrative is a skill she acquired during her time at USC.
The whole process is very surreal. Accepting the prize is still a very big thing, and I think I'm still in the dream. It definitely gives me the confidence to work more personal work like this.
Zhang says she discovered her passion for storytelling by watching films. She got started in filmmaking while at USC. For Zhang, the school's expanded animation masters is ideal, as it encourages students to experiment and push boundaries. The program is led by School of Cinematic Arts professor Sheila Sofian, someone Zhang considers a mentor.
Sheila is almost like my mom in the program, and I really thank you for her all the support. Like, she's the one who brought me to this documentary animation world, and I learned so much about this part from her.
Sofian and fellow professor Lisa Mann mentored Zhang's project. Both are previous Student Academy Award winners. Sofian is proud to see Zhang following their footsteps.
Yeah, we're very invested in her and her success. It goes way beyond a job. We care about her. We care about all the students that come through our program.
Sofian says the award is a great recognition for Zhang, who is a skilled artist with an excellent work ethic.
We're all still on cloud 9 about this because she's so deserving.
If you're wondering where to see this film, stay tuned to local film festivals. Zhang says she expects to see her work screened in Los Angeles this month. She also plans to bring the short animation to Beijing, China next month. For Annenberg Media, I'm Lori Lee.
Governor Newsom signed the MENA Inclusion Act into law on Monday, providing a more precise way to specify demographics in California. Adam Young has the story.
On Monday, the Middle Eastern and North African Inclusion Act was signed by California state lawmakers. The Assembly bill will require agencies, boards, and commissions in the state to specify MENA groups in demographic data. Lawmakers say the bill will ensure that California data reflects its own diversity. Amin Nash, co-chair of the California MENA Civil Rights Coalition, said Arab Americans feel left out of state data.
Part of the reason is what's been going on yearly, almost throughout the decades, is that when you're Middle Eastern, or like for us, we're Arab, when we go and we fill out a form, we don't see ourselves. We constantly never see ourselves.
Now, Nash said the state can represent Arab communities' unique problems with better data.
The main struggle was us saying, like, look, we have housing issues, we have health issues just like anybody else, but we are a unique population and we need to find it, you know what I mean? So that was a way for us to say, treat us like normal, treat us as anybody else. But we needed to do it by having our own separate category.
He is also optimistic that the bill will help improve media coverage and public policy on Arab Americans.
It's something that I don't know if a category is going to necessarily fix that. What it will do is make a dent in a way that allows news agencies or the public in general to start recognizing and understanding that they're a part of the larger community.
However, others are skeptical of the bill. Kendra LaVille, a first-year pre-medical student, said the bill sounds harmless but fears that it could result in more surveillance, especially during the current political climate in the United States.
So it comes from like just the times we're living in combined with just the reality of my specific ethnicity, knowing that when I hear surveillance, typically there's a negative connotation and it's not for a good reason.
Others, like Bill Covgully, who came from Michigan to watch the football game this weekend, said the bill was a great idea to help understand demographics better. Due to the bill's passage, the next census will track meta-demographic data. For Annenberg Media, I'm Adam Young.
Today, USC students and faculty are celebrating Hangul Day. That's the annual holiday to honor and mark the invention of the Korean alphabet, nearly 6 centuries ago. On today's episode of Global Campus, Annenberg Media's Carla Cruz reports on how Hangul Day connects language, history, and culture.
Seljin Park, director of the Korean language program, speaks on the history and significance of this year's Hangul Day celebration. As she oversees the activities table, she warmly greets each arrival, in English or Korean, and flashes a big smile when she says the Korean alphabet is nearly 600 years old.
It's Hungar's 79 birthday this year, yes. Yeah, so I think this kind of event is very special for anyone who is speaking in Korean or also like interested in Korean language.
But what is Hangul? Park recognizes that most people don't know the history, so she shares why and how Hangul came to be.
Before in Korea, we were using Chinese characters, which were not necessarily easy or accessible for people, like general people, the public. So King Sejong felt pity for his people, so he decided to create Hangul with his scholars.
Though it may be intimidating, learning a language is not always as difficult as it may seem, especially when King Sejong scholars created it with new learners in mind.
I think Hangul is very special because it's very easy to learn. It's not just scientific, but when he created Hangul, his goal was for the public to learn Korean alphabet, master it in a day.
Or even less, she says.
Students who are taking Korean language, Korean 1, so they start from learning Korean alphabet, and it usually takes 2 weeks, which is like 8 days, but we only meet like 50 minutes per day, so that means like 8 hours. So they learn how to read and write Korean in 8 hours. Yeah, which is very impressive.
If not from a professional, take it from the students themselves. Senior Tia Shakrov is double majoring in international relations and East Asian languages and cultures.
I think it's really symbolic that not only in the past the writing system was meant for the people so they can, improve their lives, but now like people who aren't Korean are also learning Hangul because it's so accessible as the symbols resemble the shape your mouth takes when you say them.
Shakrov says that this event is a great way to inform and inspire other students and participants.
And I think it's just really cool that like communities outside of Korean, especially like the USC community that's so diverse, can participate in learning a different script because not only of how accessible it is, but also because of their own interest.
Speaking Korean can also be accessible, says human biology major and native Korean speaker Jamie Kim. Just put your personal fears aside.
I think one of the major barriers to learning might be pronunciation, because a lot of people are scared of speaking and embarrassing themselves potentially is what I hear a lot. But I think speaking is really the one way to really get familiar with the language, especially in a place like LA where the culture is so rich and diverse.
For USC students, Hangul Day isn't just a celebration of letters. It's a reminder that to learn a language is to embrace a culture. For Annenberg Media, I'm Carla Cruz.
After the Supreme Court heard a case on Colorado's conversion therapy ban yesterday, our reporter Lizzie Liato spoke with Gerald Davison, who was once a conversion therapist himself. Davison recognized before many other psychologists that the practice does not work, and has spent most of his career advocating for compassionate care that embraces diversity.
First off, before we begin, could you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your background?
I'm a professor of psychology at USC. Been here since 1979. My principal specialty, I guess, would be cognitive behavior therapy.
The Supreme Court began its new term on Monday, and yesterday it heard the Childs v. Salazar case. This case will decide whether Colorado's conversion therapy ban for LGBTQ+ youth is constitutional on the grounds of the First Amendment rights of talk therapists. During the hearing yesterday, Colorado's state solicitor, as well as countless other medical professionals, argued that there is clear evidence that conversion therapy is harmful to minors. In your experience, how effective has conversion therapy been, and what effects does it have on minors?
Conversion therapy, by and large, with gays is not effective. However, that's a separate issue. Whether you can bring about anything, whether you can do anything, is not the same thing as whether you should. The documentation for gay people being reoriented towards the straight is, to say that it's meager and slim is being charitable. A problem with working with a technique that is ineffective is that you actually can create harm. And as in medicine, you can create what are called iatrogenic problems. In your effort to make a change in your patient or your client, you can actually do harm.
So, kind of countering Colorado's claims, the Trump administration and the lawyers for the therapists that brought this case to court said that there were no reliable studies proving that conversion therapy is harmful. So first off, is this true?
No, it's not true. It's definitely not true. There's data that it increases suicidality, that it increases depression, anxiety. It really makes people worse off. In jurisdictions where there has been this ban against conversion therapy, there's data that show the suicide rates have gone down compared to jurisdictions where conversion therapy continues to be okay.
I think what you said brings up another important issue that was brought up during the hearing. So Justice Samuel Alito questioned whether medical experts who report that conversion therapy is harmful are biased based on their ideological views. You have studied conversion therapy extensively. At any point, did you feel that your own personal views or ideology have impacted your studies? And perhaps more importantly, how may the personal views of any medical professional impact their findings?
Well, it's not surprising that Alito has that perspective. He's showing his bias clearly. So before 74, I had maybe 10 or a dozen gay clients. I had a private practice. So it was about that. I tried in all cases to get them to be more heterosexual, less homosexual. Now, this is just clinical data, but I'll tell you it's better data than Alito has. I wasn't able to do it. And I was trying very hard. I was a conversion therapist. Was part of my reputation. And I got referrals specifically for this purpose. Therapy. I engaged in more positive efforts to get them to get oriented more towards heterosexuality, and I wasn't able to do it. But that's limiting. It's better data than Alito has, I'm sure. I don't think he has any data at all. But in terms of speaking from point of bias, it's kind of laughable. The Supreme Court shows its biases in all its rulings, and in a way, not that the law is equal to ethics, it certainly isn't, but ethics certainly plays a role in the law. These are ethical choices. I mean, he's right in one degree that therapists have biases. I agree with him there, and that's why I say it's not so much a empirical question as it is a moral and ethical one.
Now, before we end this conversation, is there anything else USC students should know, especially those who may be especially concerned about the decision of this case?
Well, I think for one thing, the students should learn more than this case itself. That for them, I think the students should inform themselves of the broader issues that have nothing to do with the law. The case is extremely important, and the law is very important, and Supreme Court, God knows, is very important. But don't limit your understanding of the issues to what's being discussed in the Supreme Court. I think it's a serious mistake.
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. I really enjoyed this conversation. I learned a lot, and I'm hoping students that will listen to it will also learn.
And that's all the time we have on today's From Where We Are. Carl Massad and Susan Urenda produced today's show. We had help from Mallory Snyder, Nari Whitaker, Lorelei Rohrbach, and Kai Assad.
Our board operator is Raphael Postel. Our live stream manager is Kayla Shu. And Derek Grenfro composed our theme music.
Catch us live on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News, Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Subscribe to From Where We Are, wherever you're listening right now. Finally, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. I'm Jaden Frank.
And I'm Isabel Ramos Assam. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for From Where We Are.
So, Isabel, it's finally fall break. Are you excited?
Almost fall break. I'm so excited.
What do you have planned?
I am seeing Chaperone this weekend. So excited for that. Yes.
That is big. I have a friend visiting for fall break from out of town, so I get to show him LA. It's going to be great.
Yes.
But we hope everyone else has a great fall break.
Great fall break.
Live it up, guys.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Yes.
Yay.